What's going on, guys? This is the MMA Complex. My name is Josh.
And I'm James.
And we are back, man. A brand new episode. Took about a 2-month hiatus. You know, a lot going on. A lot going on. We'll get into that right now. But we want to thank you guys all for joining us. Glad to be back. Glad to try to get into the normal routine of things and bringing you guys more consistent shows. And I think we needed a break. Wasn't. We'll get into it right now. Yeah, but just in a second. But it's glad to be back, and we got a lot to talk about today. Want to mention to you guys before we get started to check out a sponsor for the show. We have a promo code for you guys to use, 10% off your order, and this is with Bravus Brewing Company. Me and James have been on a health kick for quite some time, and recently I've kind of quit drinking. It's time, I spent most of my 20s and 30s just casually drinking. I've never necessarily been a major alcoholic, yeah. But I love the drinkies. So, a few months back, had a wild night and decided after that it's time to call it a day. So, the little one's getting older, and I just want to take better care of myself. So, Bravus Brewing Company is local to California. They're based in Anaheim. They got tons of flavors. They got IPAs, oatmeal stouts, peanut butter stouts, amber ales, blondes. They have like the berry wine type flavor ones, the raspberry goose. You can go on their website. You can do 6-packs, 12-packs, 24-packs. You can mix and match flavors. I think it's free shipping, and with our code, you get 10% off. And it's non-alcoholic. It's got like near non-alcoholic, at least for them. Yeah. It's like a 0.5% of alcohol, which is like nothing. You can drink one. You could drink multiple. You could drink probably a whole 6-pack, and you'll probably still not feel a breathalyzer. If somebody pulls you over, what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You won't feel anything. You won't get drunk. I'm sure. Your mouthwash has more alcohol in it than any of these, a 6-pack of these. So
yeah. And the great thing about this product is not only is it alcohol free, but it tastes great.
Yeah. If you're an avid drinker or avid connoisseur of beers or anything like that, you'll notice a difference. It's just a lighter version.
It's a slight version.
It's a slight lighter version of anything you're used to, basically, what you prefer.
But the more you drink it, I'm sure it's like a unique an acquired taste, so you get kind of used to it.
Yeah, the first time
it reminds me of like drinking diet soda versus regular soda.
Basically. And even it might not even be that far of a difference in taste. Yeah. It's like fairly close to the real thing. Yeah. And
just a little watered down, but not too bad.
Not too bad. And I think on the second time I tried it, I popped one open watching something on Netflix or whatever, and after a while you almost, it's like drinking the real thing. It's basically like the real thing. So it's good. I mean, if you're looking for a guilt-free, healthier alternative to drinking, this is it. You want to work out afterwards. You want to play with the kids and be guilt-free. You want to drive. You want to go to work. You want to do all that stuff, but still have like that feeling that you actually cracked open a beer, and whatever your flavor preference is, and
it'd be great just to be like to crack open these cans, and you can drink with your friends, and they can have the real stuff, you can have the fake stuff or non-alcoholic stuff, and you can wake up with no hangover. Yeah, you can wake up without feeling sick. You can do all that, and get the pleasure of that alcoholic taste in your mouth.
And you can tell your friends. There's been a stigma to it, and even me researching this stuff, I'm like, non-alcoholic. I mean, what's really out there? Yeah, and quite a bit. Almost every major company has non-alcoholic versions of their beers. And we tried Heineken's today. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not bad, but Bravus is they're a local brewery and they have really good selection. And I liked it. After second try, I was like drinking the real thing. Yeah. So promo code COMPLEX, 10% off your order. I think they already offer free shipping, so it's a good deal.
It's a great
deliver
deal.
right to your house, and guilt-free beer, and have a pop one open for a fight, and there you go, man.
And Josh said, there's a variety of them. So if you want
Yeah.
an ale one day or a stout the next, you can get all that. You can get a blonde. You can get
Peanut butter stout.
Yes, that stout. It tastes great.
Yeah.
And if you want to support the show, you can,
10% off your
10%
order.
off. It'll support us.
Yeah.
It'll make you feel better health wise and
You could go to
guilt
the gym.
free.
You could go to the gym right after. Maybe you're a savage and did that anyway, drinking a 6-pack, but you can drink a 6-pack of these and go right to the gym, and,
Yeah.
and it won't affect you health wise, and you won't feel bad about it. You won't worry about your liver. And if you want to take a break, it's the next best thing. It's like for smokers and nicotine. This is nicotine patches. This is it. This is your nicotine patch.
This is your fix.
For me, it's a good fix. It's a good alternative, best alternative.
Complex.
So Complex, 10% off your order. And good to be back, man. We took a lot of time off, more than we expected to.
Yeah.
On the path, at least for me, without getting too deep into it. Health issues. Thankfully, for the most part, everything's all A-okay. And nothing major to really bring up or anything to talk about, thankfully. So that's all kind of in the process of healing. So feeling pretty decent nowadays. And mentally, man, mental health is a big thing. I've always kind of, struggled with anxiety or stress, but always had a lot of things to manage it, or a lot of distractions, and never affected me too much. But man, like with quarantine, you have a lot of time on your hands, and I know a lot of you guys aren't working, full-time jobs anymore, and you're at home and you're stuck at home. There's nothing to do, and all your friends are stuck at home too, and there's not really anything to do.
The walls cave in.
Yeah, man. You have your mind starts to run wild, and for me, I was already kind of going through some stuff before our last episode, and then the physical stuff just hit like a rock, and just the anxiety and the stress skyrocketed and fucking went through the ceiling. So it took a long while to get off of that and get through that, and slowly but surely, I think I'm headed in that direction. So it felt good enough to get back into the swing of things, and that's why we're here.
Yep.
So, and then reaching out to a lot of other people, kind of found out that, a lot of people
deal with this shit.
Deal with it. A lot of guys, like, maybe aside from, us kind of talking about it, I had 3 or 4, 5 different, about 4 different friends of mine, people that I've known and wouldn't even have thought that they were experiencing some of this stuff, had been dealing with it, and recently too.
Yeah.
And
something like that is always comforting, because like you always feel alone in your problems, and you always feel alone in whatever's going on in your head.
Yeah.
And to know there's people out there that not only went through it but overcame it. It must be comforting to know that.
Yeah, and it's when you're in the middle of it, and you're in the middle of those like episodes, and you're in the middle of like maybe a long stretch of like weeks upon weeks of like, depression, anxiety, and panic attacks, man. Because I had one panic attack that was, we talked about it. It was just tore me to shreds. I thought I was having a heart attack. You name it. And that's probably the worst one of my life. I probably had one previous to that was somewhat bad, but this was by far the worst. And it was within a span of like 3 weeks. I probably had a couple mini ones. So it's a real thing. I think you're definitely, for anybody out there, you're not alone. Most likely your friends or your family members that you talk to are probably at times have gone through it or are going through it. So I'm telling you, it's very easy. It's not easy, but then it is easy when you finally do it, just to be like, hey man, yeah, somebody be like, hey, how are things going on? And you want to just shoot a text, be like, yeah, it's been going through this, and then be like, that's all it took. Some people that's all it took, where they were like, oh yeah, I went through the same thing just like last month, or the last time I saw you, I barely even made it to your house. You know what I mean? Like, so one friend told me that he had a panic attack that day and almost reconsidered coming over, like the last time I saw him. And I was like, oh shit, man, I didn't and had been, in therapy ever since. So it's one of those things, man. And a lot of it could be triggered by just the normal stress. It could be triggered by health reasons, or all of the above.
Yeah.
And it could be a number of things. So yeah, that was a big thing. So it took a long while to get to this point to where at least I felt good enough to get in front of the camera or the mic and talk to you guys. And then James had some stuff going on too. So we've all been out of commission for a little bit, needed a break, and we're back.
But like talking to you guys and having the show is like a somewhat of a therapy and somewhat of a, I don't know, like a venture outside of our personal life to be able to talk to you guys about it. Mixed martial arts, something that we both love.
It's a good distraction. This is a good distraction. It's a fun distraction to do these things, and hopefully, there's people out there that are listening and enjoying it, and
to give a fuck.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, yeah, physically, mentally, I'm definitely in a better place.
Oh yeah,
but still on the path. You're still, I'm sure a lot of people are out there. As far as for me, I'm in that middle road of like, am I good or am I not good? You know what I mean? Like, it's hard.
But you've gained a lot of ground since last time.
Like, you're in that mode of like, you've been in that mode of like heightened stress for so long that it's hard to let go of it. So I'm in that middle road right now. But I'm definitely on the better side of it.
But the fact that you made it to this point is good.
It's crazy, man. You look back on, for me, I look back on some of the worst weeks that were during this time, and I'm like, dude, how did I
survive?
How did I survive? Like, how did I get to that point? How did I allow myself to get to that point? And then
it's mental, man.
Yeah,
your brain can fuck you up.
So crazy. So, So thank you guys all for joining us. Remember Complex 10. Complex for 10% off. Bravus Brewing Company. And then we're back, man. So we're gonna get to the fights last week with Tony and who else on the main card?
It was Chandler and Oliveira and then Ferguson.
We'll get to the fights this weekend. We get to Jake Paul signing with Showtime and do all that. So we'll get to that right now. All right. So last week, you had Chandler and Oliveira. You had Tony Ferguson and Benito Dariush. And then, the card overall I thought was decent, but I mean, without getting too deep into it, because, we're days past that and we had some fights this coming weekend. Just your thoughts on, let's say, the Tony and Benil. For either one of those guys, where do you see their trajectory going? And as in Tony's case, what do you think went wrong for him?
I mean, I think like we're talking about
in his career, not just in the fight.
Yeah, I think when we're talking about this fight off camera, his ACL injury kind of like led him to this road of losses, really, and he had he had a hard time with Anthony Pettis, but he got past them and then fought Gaethje, and then Gaethje kind of it was a tough fight, and then Cowboy too. It was like a rough patch for Tony Ferguson. Yeah. I think now, I think he should fight a top 15 guy. I think he should get a quote unquote like a warm up fight, and then try to pick up a win. I don't think he should retire. I don't think it's over for him. I think he should just stop going off this top 5 guys and go for a top 15 guy and see if we can get a win off of those guys.
Yeah. Let's start with Tony. So Tony, I think for him, at least for me, and I agree too, once he had that ACL injury or the knee injury, he didn't even take a year off, and he came back. It was like an 8-month recovery process, and for me, he just didn't look the same upon his return. Physically, he looked slimmer and just not strong. He physically looked weaker. He looked more frail, and I could see his tentativeness in his fighting when anybody would kick his legs, or especially in those Pettis and Cerrone fights. I think he barely got past those fights in those fights. I think he did enough to win, and those guys were kind of on the downslope anyway, so he caught them at a good time and got some good wins. But once he hit the wall of Gaethje, it showed where his skills and his age and the rest of the division, it's finally caught up with him, and I think Gaethje pieced him up on the feet. You had Oliveira just dominate him on the ground everywhere, actually, and then Beneil Dariush just took him down at will and controlled him. And yeah, I don't know if he's at the point of retirement and to call it quits, because he's not getting, aside from the Gaethje fight, he's not getting beat up and knocked out.
Yeah,
but he's getting dominated, even though he's surviving and he's got good defense. He's just not winning rounds. He's lost so many rounds. He's on that Tyron Woodley, phase of his career where he's just not firing back. He's hesitant. Yeah, he's hesitant. He's not firing on. He's not being creative and putting himself into dangerous positions. Like, he's getting hit and he's getting stunned, and he's holding back and he's very cautious.
It's a weird thing to see too, because especially being controlled like that. Because I'm used to like Ferguson fighting off his back, with elbows or
scrambling and all that,
or getting his butterfly hook and try to sweep the guy. You see nothing. You just see him on his back getting dominated. And it's really weird to see.
Yeah, and having that look in his eyes of where he's like he's stuck. He can't. He's got nowhere to go, and he doesn't know what to do. He's almost like just survival mode the entire time, and he's always like a step behind his opponents. I think eventually he stays on his path, it's gonna be bad. I think he's gonna have a knockout at some point.
Yeah, and that division isn't doing any good, because I mean, it's killers, man. It's the deepest division in the UFC. It has been for a very long time, and for him, I mean, like the top 10 guys, fucking killers, and then like even the top 15, like you have guys who are dangerous, but aren't ranked. So he has a tough road ahead of him, but I think, and I hope that he can pull through.
I hope so too. We'll see. I know Dana's already looking at it as like this might be the end of the road, but he's going to give him probably one more fight, 2 more fights. Same with Cowboy. 1 more fight, 2 more fights to see how you do.
Yeah.
And it's a must win.
Yeah.
I think Tony's on the same path. And he's 37 now. I mean, it happens. You're 37 at lightweight. Your speed, your durability. Those
guys are fucking animals.
Time catches up with.
Yep.
And it's it. So it's kind of reaching that end for Tony.
Yeah.
He's had a long, good career. Interim champ. He never got the big accolades that he should have when in his prime, but he's done a lot.
Yeah.
Beneil, man, he's one of those guys that was always just there, getting by, win some, lose some, and has been on a roll, man. He's looking better and better. He looks like an older guy. He looks like a 37, 40-year-old. Whereas, Tony looks a little bit younger, but Beneil's like 32.
Yeah, he's so young.
Young.
Yeah,
he's got so many gray hairs and just his face looks weathered. He looks like a much older person.
Yeah. Well, he's white, so.
Yeah. And is he white? Beneil Dariush? No, he's like Iranian, isn't he?
Oh, shit. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Well, I think he is. And so,
but
he's on a roll, and I think now it's a top 5 guy.
Exactly. I think him beating Tony did nothing but good for him, because he finally got a fight with the name, and someone like Tony who previously, before all these losses came together, he had a 12-fight win streak, and was considered the best lightweight in the division. So for him to get a win off of him, I'm sure it's gonna help him a lot.
And so I think he's on a roll. He's looking better than ever, and he's found that play, almost like Oliveira. They finally found themselves.
They groove,
and where the mentally and physically have all come together.
Yeah.
As far as the main event, it was a great main event.
Yeah.
Action-packed first round. You had Chandler dominating the first round. Oliveira hanging in there, almost out of it. Comes back and finishes at Chandler in the first 19 seconds of the second round.
Amazing.
And lands a left hook, and sends Chandler pedaling backwards in survival mode, and then ends up pouncing on him, taking him out, and is your new lightweight champion, man.
When Chandler got hit the second time, and kind of was backpedaling, it reminded me of the Kane and Brock fight when Kane hit Brock, and Kane Brock kind of just went backwards, and it fucking did a complete circle.
Yep.
He like flipped him. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that.
It was like that.
But no, like Charles Oliveira, fucking A, that's a a Cinderella story in the UFC. I mean, he was 10 wins, 8 losses
Yeah.
not too long ago, a few years ago,
Yeah.
and he was like, he couldn't, and he was the type of person that was going to 45 but couldn't make the weight. Go to 55, he would get his ass handed to him.
Yeah. Once he hit the top level of the division, he always got knocked back down.
Yeah.
And then
And he could never make 45s. He tried to make 45s, he couldn't do it.
and now the guy's found his groove, man.
Dude, he looks fucking great.
Good. He looks a world beater.
Yeah.
He's
He's resilient, yeah.
confident, and the guy's a force, man. And he can hold the title for quite some time, or he's got a bunch of killers he has to go through too. So
Yeah.
he looked good. And as far as Chandler, he looked good too.
Yeah, he got caught.
He just got caught, and I think he won a lot of fans even with that performance. And I think give him another go at a top 5 guy. I put him up against any of the top 5 to win on any given night. He's a super athletic, powerful, explosive,
Yeah.
confident, and experienced, and he could beat any of the top 5 on any given night, any of them.
Yeah.
Even Oliveira. It just Chandler's one of the guys if you able to catch him and take him out, you gotta basically beat him.
Yeah.
To beat him, you know what I mean? You got to take him out.
Yeah, exactly. But he's not necessarily like done. I think him and Oliveira will probably have a trilogy, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, they'll probably go again if he can fight and win. He's 1 or 2 fights back into the
title mix. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a great card. The UFC's been on a great roll, and they got a lot of things going on for the summer, and we're back with audiences, and
it's weird.
How did you like the audience being in like the
crowd?
I think
it was. I mean, they added a lot. It adds a lot. It adds a lot. Yeah, like and it must add energy to the fighters. Coming in instead of being like an ultimate fighter kind of.
But I think they're going to continue the fight nights in Apex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I thought it the crowds look great. It adds so much to the experience. And it's nice to have both. I think we're going to get both for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And I welcome them. I think us in California, I just read.
Yeah.
June 15th, no capacity limit. I think,
Fuck.
I know. It's a lot of politics going into it, right, at this point. But, I think they're going to still probably require vaccinations or mask or what have you. But as far as social distancing and capacity, it's going to be up to the businesses themselves. And we're back in business now.
Yeah. And I think, that may open the doors for us to go into fights again.
Yeah. Or fights in California. Yeah. I think I wouldn't doubt if, Bellator and UFC and all these other promotions come back and start doing events out here, because starting in June, the state's back open. So it's gonna be cool, and we're gonna have crowds again and be able to do our thing at these fights. And
I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, bring you guys content and all that stuff. So it's gonna be nice to have get back into the groove of things. And
then pretty soon, like, you'll be fully vaccinated. I'm fully vaccinated. You'll be fully vaccinated.
Yeah, I'm getting my first next week. Yeah. And so before the June 15th deadline, I'll be fully vaccinated by that point. So
awesome.
Yeah, I think enough time has passed, and we're good now to get the vaccination. I'm not scared of it anymore. So.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about Jake Paul signing with Showtime, and what they may hold in store for his future and his, competing in boxing against MMA guys, or even open the door to MMA. Before we get to that, here it is, right here. Bravus Brewing Company, right here. This is the oatmeal stout. This is the one we're trying right now.
It's great.
Yeah, consistency.
Cheers.
Dark. I don't know if you guys like this one. Yeah, great. Oatmeal stout.
Great.
Light, a little bit lighter than, let's say, a Guinness, but I mean, if any of you guys tried the Stella Blacks, very similar to that. But
it tastes good.
Yeah.
It's tasty.
So Jake
Logan
Paul.
Or Jake Paul.
Yeah, Jake Paul signs a 3-fight deal with Showtime Boxing. Now Showtime is the exclusive broadcaster of Bellator, which Cyrborg is fighting tonight. Now, I think this opens the door of what's Jake gonna really do at this point? What kind of moves is he gonna make? Is he going to actually start dabbling in competition against other boxers? Does this, with this Showtime deal, does this make it easier for Bellator guys to compete against him in boxing? Like a Dylan Dennis, does it make it that much easier? I think it does.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're all under the same umbrella.
Will Jake Paul ever dabble in MMA at a light, against a guy like Dylan Dennis? Because Jake Paul wrestled in high school. He's got good stand up. He's a young, athletic kid, big. I mean, he's got, with a little bit of training, maybe a full camp of like ground game work, because he's already done his hand work. It's safe to say maybe he might win a few fights and do pretty decent. So, I mean, we might see that happen too. I don't know. What do you think? What do you make of this?
I think it's fucking crazy. I think, like, to think that this guy was a YouTuber and he was a nobody, but he understood how to play the game as far as how to promote yourself. He took the pro wrestling route pretty much and dropped promos, talk shit, called out, smart about it. He didn't call out the killers. He called out guys that he can beat and didn't know or weren't experienced in boxing.
Yeah, and not beat them outside of their comfort expertise.
Zone. Yeah, and for him to like not only accomplish that, but get the notoriety that he got, and to the point where this guy went to the UFC fight and was getting, people were saying "fuck Jake Paul." I mean, a bad reaction or a good reaction? He got a reaction,
and he had Daniel Cormier coming after him.
Yeah, I mean, that guy like DC, future Hall of Famer, former double champ, comes after him. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, and he has Dana White talking about him. He has mainstream media talking about him. It's crazy. It's
crazy.
Yeah. And then now he's signed with Showtime Boxing. I mean, come on, that's fucking absurd if you think about it.
It's a big win for Showtime.
Yeah.
I think it's going to get a lot of eyeballs.
I mean, they know that this guy's going to bring eyeballs to the product.
And it's obviously bad news for Triller, who's going to definitely suffer financially. And I can see them closing shop pretty soon. I can see some of their upcoming fights with Teofimo Lopez and Holyfield and all these other events that they're planning to put on.
Yeah,
they might not actually come to fruition.
Yeah, I think Jake Paul was holding the ground for that company for sure.
Yeah.
Now, it's either going to be like you said, like he fights, he dabbles into MMA at some point. He continued to fight like these MMA guys or retired athletes, or he can start actually find some real competition. Like, I don't think Showtime will put him against like killers, because they realize that as soon as this guy gets beat, his values drop. So they're going to continue to like.
And he's smart. This kid he's smart. He knows what he's doing, and he's going to pick the fights that work for him.
Yeah.
And he's going to pick either other celebrities, low-level boxers, but with ground fighters in MMA. I mean, he's going to want to box those kind of guys, and I think Showtime will go along with it and put on events like this, and it'll be fun. And it might be other celebrities. Who knows?
It'd be very Bellator-esque.
Yeah, but events. I think as far as it relates to MMA, I think the possibilities of Bellator guys coming up and fighting him it became a lot easier.
Yeah,
and if I was Scott, I would try to get him over to Bellator. And I think at this point, I don't think Scott usually follows the lead of UFC sometimes. Like if they're like with Diego Sanchez. Diego Sanchez got let go, and then Bellator right away said, we're not signing Diego Sanchez. You know what I mean? Because they want to be respected as well, so they don't want to just be like, oh, we're going to get UFC's leftovers all the time. Yeah, they
want to be like the WCW back then.
Yeah, so I can see Bellator not really especially Dana White's not playing ball with Jake Paul anymore, not loaning any of his guys, not even want to talk about Jake Paul anymore. I can see Scott heading in that direction. Or making it a deal to where if Jake Paul fights one of my guys, he's got to come into the cage and fight.
Or they can do where if he wants to come to Bellator,
he's got to do
be MMA. Their Bellator kickboxing too.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Jake's that dedicated though.
No.
I don't think he's
I think it's probably more dangerous or as dangerous as MMA because the boxing stance leaves you wide open for kicks.
Yeah. I could see him possibly making his way into the cage to fight somebody like Dylan Dennis. I can see that happening, and Scott making that deal to where you can.
That'd be a bad matchup though, no?
For
Jake.
Yeah, but they're not even in the same weight class. They can get away with the weight class difference in boxing.
They can always do a catchweight, no?
Yeah, but Jake's big.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I would say definitely a bad matchup as far as ground game goes. But if Jake puts the work in and does a full camp with just nothing but ground, I can see him at least holding his own to where it has to stay on the feet, and then it'll be a toss up.
I don't know. I can see that maybe for like a all-ranked guy, but someone as seasoned as Dylan and a world champion in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I would say Dylan will still be the favorite, but let's say Jake develops a decent ground defense, develops a decent
that's what I'm saying.
Takedown defense.
It's hard to like defend that high level of jiu-jitsu in one camp.
Yeah, no, he's not going to want to go on the ground. He's going to try to avoid the ground and keep it standing. And if he can do that, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be the bigger guy. And
it'll be like Randy Couture, just one takedown and fight's over.
Yeah, and then being the bigger guy will make it easier for him to get Dylan off of him a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it'll be interesting to see where this goes.
I mean, it's a fight, so anything can happen.
Yeah, and he's obviously... I'm curious to see how serious he takes his thing and what he decides to do with it.
Yeah.
What matchups come up. So
yeah.
Let's get into anything else. I mean, Diego Sanchez stuff is still playing out. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
John Jones is gonna take time off, I guess. Whatever.
That situation.
McGregor just had another kid.
Probably kids left and right.
Yeah, I know. You have Cyborg fighting tonight. We're going to touch on that card real quick. And then you have Cody Garbrandt against...
This weekend, right?
Yeah, against... Who's he fighting?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
This non-alcoholic beer is fucking...
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We had nothing but... You can't blame the alcohol anymore. Yeah, whatever. So let's get to the fights. Let's get to the fights this weekend. All right, so this weekend... You have Bellator 259 Cyrborg versus Smith 2. You have LFA 108 Fremd versus Rodriguez. And then you have tomorrow night UFC Fight Night 188 Rob Font versus Cody Garbrandt. That's going to be a good one, a stand-up fight right there.
Mm-hmm. The return of Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah. So that's this weekend. So tonight, Bellator 259 Cyrborg versus Smith. Featherweight titles on the line. This is the second meeting between these two. You have Darian Caldwell versus Leandro Higo, Fabian Edwards, Austin Vanderfort, Mike Khan Mendaka versus Jaleel Willis, Hannah Guy versus Valley Loretta. I'm looking forward to that one. Sadawad versus Nate Andrews in your preliminary main event. And then you have a host of other people on the undercard. So that's on Showtime tonight, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I think they have a 30-day free trial, and then $4.99 for 6 months every month after that.
Not bad.
And then, man, if they come back, and it'd be nice to have Bellator back over here so we can make the trips up to San Jose and all that stuff. That'd be fun.
Super fun.
You have Cody Garbrandt versus Rob Font 188 this weekend. UFC 188 at the Apex. Jack Hermanson versus Edmund Shabazian. Great one right there. You have Bill Agiio versus Ricardo Ramos. You have Norma Dumont, a Brazilian girl. She's always had a little bit of issues with weight cuts, and I think she made weight. She's got very thick legs, very thick thighs, and all that stuff, and she's pretty, but she looks like a big, thick, strong girl. But I don't know. I like her. I like her look.
She sounds delicious.
Yeah, she's very like her thighs, and she's got like Pedro Hizzo legs.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Shit.
And against Felicia Spencer, Justin Tafa versus Jared Vandera, Carla Esparza versus Yang Zionan, and Rob Font versus Cody Garbrandt. And I think Chris Barnett versus Ben Rothwell is your main event. and then Court McGee versus Claudio Silva is your
Conor
co-main
McGee,
event.
huh?
Yeah, on the preliminary card, Court McGee versus Claudio Silva, and then you have a decent undercard.
Yeah.
Yancy Medeiros and stuff like that. But let's go with Rob Font, Cody Garbrandt. Who do you have?
Oh man. So this is Cody's long layoff return.
Yeah.
He didn't look.
He beat Ascenso.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That was like last year.
Yeah.
Or earlier this year. I don't remember.
I think it was earlier
Last
this
year.
year. Last year?
I think it was last
Late
year.
last year?
Late last year.
It's about a year off, but before that
Less
Santo
than
fight,
6 months.
he was bad. But oh yeah, that's right. We're in April, though.
Yeah. But he took time off. He took a long time off. Fought Ascenso. Beat Ascenso. This was like maybe December, I think.
That's right. Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't remember.
I'm gonna go with Cody.
You go, Cody. I think it's a good pick. Rob Font is. I think doesn't he train out of? Does he train out of Jersey and all that with
Frank Hager? No.
No, with
Oh, Hento?
No, who's the guy who fought Max Holloway? Who last fought Max Holloway and got beat on the feet when Max went on beast mode.
Oh yeah.
Fuck, what's his name?
Oh, okay.
I know we're all fucking. This non-alcoholic beer is fucking us up.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. You guys are listening, probably frustrated at us. Like,
I
you guys
know.
are idiots. But yeah, I don't
Can't
remember.
His fights at a Jersey. And I could be even wrong. I could get him mixed up.
Maybe going to like
Yeah, the New England Cartel of Boston, Massachusetts. With motherfucker.
the 7 Max Holloways, and you can look at his last 2 fights, whatever.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, this is very faster. UFC stats. Calvin Cater, Jesus Christ. Yeah, out of Boston, Mass. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's Rob Font's teammates with Calvin Cater. He comes out of that camp, which is a great camp, a great team. And so I'll go with Rob Font on this one. I say it's gonna be a stand-up fight. Obviously, Cody's got the power, but I think Rob Font's technique might help him out in the long run and maybe get a decision. So I'll go Rob Font on this one. Good weekend of fights. Fights tonight. Cyborg Smith.
They're all free. So.
They're all free. At least you can have the Showtime trial and get 30 days free and just cancel.
You can get some food and pick up some non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah. So before we go, that's our show. So before we go, thank you guys all for joining us.
Yeah.
Glad to be back. We're gonna try to get back in the swing of things and hopefully our mental health and our physical health improve. At least especially for me. I know you've been pretty good, but. Like both of us are on the, but I want to thank Bravus Brewing Company right here. Boom, boom. This is their oatmeal stout. Complex is the promo code, 10% off your order. Go on their website, customize your order, get a free shipping, I believe.
Order and maybe not this weekend because it's already Friday, but
but
the next fight you can order some and
your 12-pack, your 24-packs, your 6-packs, and just customize your orders and enjoy. It's basically the next best real thing closely enough to the real thing.
Yeah.
You after one crack of it, you'll forget that you're not even drinking actual alcoholic beer. This is it fixes that need.
That fixation,
yeah.
And if you fuckers are, and if you guys are like drinking it. If you're drinking beer just to get fucked up, then you guys have a problem. Get help.
Like for me, I like to drink and to have a good time and to just chill out. And I don't necessarily need the sensation of being buzzed or being fucked up. This fills that void of that craving of just the taste and the beer and enjoying and relaxing.
Yeah.
And you can go to the workout right after and your body's not processing any kind of alcohol. It's just straight up just a good relaxing drink. And it's like the real thing, man. So Bravus Beer Complex, 10% off.
Show your support. We got a 12-pack.
And that's our show. Good to be back.
Really good to be back. Yeah.
Good.
Like normal again.
Normal again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been 2 months off, and now we're back, and we'll try to get you guys another one next week, and recap all the fights from this weekend. So thank you guys for joining us. Go to the MMA Complex on all social media, iTunes, all that.
Grab your beer, Complex.
Your Bravus beer, and
rate the show.
Chill out.
5 stars on iTunes. Do what you can to support the show. Yeah, guys, it's great to be back, and we'll see you guys next week, and we'll talk about next week's fights. I mean, this week's fights next week. So enjoy then, enjoy your week, enjoy the fights.